Yeah, Sean Monahan, Monahan, wow. Because today I had a birthday party for Moana and I said Moana. Anyways,
I
Sean
got you.
Monahan traded to the Winnipeg Jets. Now we have a lot of controversy from the fans,
Uh,
but the real fans, the ones that
I have a lot of things to
understand,
say about this.
yeah, but like us fans who understand the sport and the rebuild and the logic behind all this, I think
We'll
this
we'll, we'll,
was
we'll we'll see.
an amazing trade.
We'll see what the four of us have to say if we really have an understanding about the rebuild, if we're all on the same page, or maybe we could each of us represent a quarter of the Montreal Canadiens fan base within this province and around the world, hopefully. But Anthony, you think it's a great trade?
I love it.
Okay, you love it. Why?
It's just behind this. It's the brains of Hughes and Gorton. Like this asset management with this guy is just it's beautiful. Like
Okay,
again, I think he's building this team the right way. I love Sean Monahan. He's been building his value. We all knew that he was not going to sign at the end of this year. Okay. He wasn't a player that was staying with the Montreal Canadiens. So we just got rid of him earlier for good assets, not
so
third rounders, first rounders.
so let's
And
let let's
yeah,
let's let's just remind everybody real quick. It's very simple. Sean Monahan traded for Winnipeg's 2024 first round pick. And this one, which I found weird, but whatever, a conditional third round pick from Winnipeg in 2027. It's if they win the Stanley Cup this year.
That's a throw in.
That's that's a throw in. So
Yeah.
that's
go
if
go go
Winnipeg
go.
wins the Stanley Cup.
If Winnipeg wins the Stanley
And
Cup this year, it's got to be this year. Then Montreal gets Winnipeg's 2027 third round pick.
I'd rather them not win and get a better first rounder. So
I think we could all agree on that too, Joey.
yeah.
I
And
definitely, as much as I'm happy for Monahan, he has a chance, and I think he deserves it. The veteran like him that's been through fucking injury issues a good part of his career. I do wish him the best, and I think Winnipeg is a much better team with him. But if they lose in the first round, that pick goes between pick 17 and 2021.
and just to add for Anthony, I mean, I've read this. They're not rumors that could be 100% true. I have heard things about Monahan that he wouldn't mind to resign here. So if that happens, it makes it even better. We ended up actually trading Monahan twice for two first rounders, the same player, and we got two first rounders.
Also, look, I just want to remind everyone that we got a first round pick for a player who only played 74 games with the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
In year one, he played 25 games, 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points. This time around, 49 games played, 13 goals, 22 assists for 35 points. So
And this is a player, we took off of Calgary's hand, and they threw us a first rounder with it.
name me, can anybody out there, if you're listening to this, please comment. Can you name as far back as you can go, a general manager who got a player who brought a player to the Montreal Canadiens with a first round pick and who took the same player and traded him and got another first round pick? Can somebody I don't remember Marc Bergevin doing this. I don't remember Bob Gainey doing this. I don't remember Andre Savard doing this.
Forget Habs GM, Sam. I don't remember a team doing this besides
Dude,
Montreal.
but like, okay, can we all agree that the Habs fans out there who are not too thrilled about this trade that went down is because they look at what Calgary got for trading Elias Lindholm? Do you guys think
further?
Oh, so before you start, Chris, let's remind everybody again: the Vancouver Canucks got Elias Lindholm for Andrei Kuzmenko, Yanni Yermo, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, a minor league player, Hunter Brustowicz, if I'm pronouncing that too, another minor league player. Okay, a 2024 first round pick and a 2024 fourth round conditional pick. There's a bunch of Anthony scenarios in there. That's okay. But let's be honest. They got the Calgary Flames for Elias Lindholm, got an NHL player, a young NHL player, 2 minor league prospects, and 2 first round and 2 draft picks, 1 first round and 1 conditional 4th round. I really think, Chris, I'm gonna pass you the puck on this. I really think Canadiens fans out there that are not too thrilled about this trade are comparing these 2 very different situations. Go, Chris.
Yeah, 100%. So don't confuse the TSN trade bait board with what happened between Montreal's trade and Calgary's trade. I think Lindholm in himself, let's talk about injury prone. Like Monahan has had a significant amount of injuries. I think Winnipeg is taking a potential risk on a guy like Sean Monahan, even though he's been, knock on wood, he's been healthy for the year. You're getting, I think, in Lindholm, you're getting a more impactful player. Their whole what Calgary had to give up is respective of what they got in return. We did not have to give up nearly, or we're not giving nearly as much of a piece, a trade acquisition, as much as he is a centerman of high value and could go to a team, could go to a lot of different teams who needed that centerman position depth to go into the playoffs. It's just not the same thing. And again, it's just completely incomparable. I think Lindholm solidifies himself as even borderline second line player for Vancouver going into the playoffs. And there are other like I wanted to also get into other factors too, not necessarily just compare the Calgary trade, but I think the most important thing that we have to realize as Montreal fans is not not withholding any part of Sean Monahan's salary is probably indicative of what's to come for the
But
trade deadline.
especially
That's the added value.
That's 1,000% that, and that was the requirement from a lot of teams. Listen, Pierre LeBrun said it. He goes, teams will give up a first-round pick, especially if the Canadiens retain 50% of salary, and they didn't even have to do that, and they still got a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people truly realize how great that is.
That's an
And
extra
how-
asset in itself.
And it opens up a door for another trade.
which is gonna come before the trade deadline or by trade deadline. There's gonna be a trade included with the goalie in regards to all this. I mean, look, the only negative I have for this, and again, it's only a negative now until we find out this open door that you're saying, Sam, that can lead to another trade or whatever. And if that happens, then this might fill in the gap. But without Monahan at the moment, we're missing we have a hole in the middle.
Well,
Yeah,
Newhook
that's-
is coming back. I mean, if that
Who?
counts, Newhook. He's
Alex
had a
Newhook,
full
sorry, he
pack.
started practicing. Like he should play tomorrow. And look, they called up Lucas Condora. Brendan Gignac in Laval got an actual NHL contract. Who I actually really think
Did he get called up?
he automatically gets called up.
Called up. Okay.
Yeah, part of their CBA is he's got an NHL contract. He automatically goes to the Canadiens. If they want to send him back down, they gotta pass him through waivers again. So yeah, Santi, that leaves them a hole. But like with Suzuki, with Jake Evans, now you got Condora that's there. Gignac might share some of the role. Newhook might play center, even though we'll see.
Biggest thing that comes out of it in my books, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this to me means I'm going to name 2 players and maybe a third or fourth guy. But that means in my books that Jake Allen
Yep.
or David Savard
Nope.
are very likely packing their bags.
Not
One of those
Savard.
two. And if
Savard.
you say
Nope.
if you say the only other players that I would consider maybe on the move, but I think it would be 10 times more difficult, at least this season, maybe looking at a guy like Dvorak or Armia
Not even.
going to another
Not
team.
even.
Isn't
Nope.
Dvorak done for the year?
He's done for the year.
Yeah.
They're not
It
going
is
to.
done for the year? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, my bad.
It's
That's bad on me.
Armia or Allen, Chris, because even
Not-
he said
I don't even
talked
think
about
Armia is
Savard
in the. I don't even think Armia is in the equation. I don't even think Savard is in the equation.
I agree with
So who do you
Savard.
guys have?
Armia is an outside chance, but the likely one is Allen. So Savard is definitely out. If you can tell, if you listen to Hughes' press conference, he's definitely not being traded.
He never even had a single discussion with David Savard, and we know how open Hughes is with
Yeah.
with these situations. No, I think they might try for Pearson. I think they're gonna try to trade Tanner Pearson for, if it's not gonna be a draft pick and like a third round, fourth round pick, maybe a minor league player that could help out Laval right now, because they haven't been winning ever since Arbor Jacka got called up. I don't know if it's a coincidence or, anyways, I'm just saying. I really think it comes down to Jake Allen or Tanner Pearson, and one contract or the other. Those are contracts that you can retain 50%, and it's going to cost the other team not a lot.
I think it'd likely be Allen because he has a bigger contract.
I think so too. But the fact that Allen has one more year, teams might be a bit afraid. The cap is going up, so there could be some consideration.
Yeah.
Tanner Pearson, I personally don't know. Even if we get nothing for him, whatever. We got a
I
veteran.
thought he was a first-line player.
Yeah, sure.
Well, somebody here said it.
So, yes, the Kent Hughes press conference is actually very important, because obviously he's going to show up after making this trade. But quite a few things he said during that press conference that made me very happy in where he's going with this, in the direction of this team. And the fact that he said, we did not retain salary because it leaves us open to retain another contract. That, to me, right there, it means he's got another fucking trade coming. 1,000%. He's got another trade coming. 1,000%. Okay. What else did he say? That, again, if the option of re-signing Monahan was there, they probably wouldn't have traded, but they cannot see in the foreseeable future an opportunity to bring him back. So I don't think Sean Monahan is coming back. There's at least 4 prospect contracts that are going to start next year. Right now, the Canadiens, with the signing of Gignac, have only room for 5 other contracts. There's Philip Machard that's coming, Owen Beck that's coming, there's David Reinbacher that's coming. You still got to sign Lane Hudson. Okay, there could be Jared Davidson that, Anthony, you like. You still have Arbor Jacki, that's a restricted free agent. You have Justin Barron, that's a restricted free agent. You have Jesse Lonen, that's a restricted free agent. Sure, you're going to lose the Chris Weidman contracts. You're going to lose the Tanner Pearson contracts. I get it. There might be 1 or 2 guys in Laval they're not going to resign that are their late 20s. But on the overall, like, this is the best they could have gotten. I don't think they could have gotten anything better than this.
No,
no one, not from the Bruins, probably not from Colorado. They, like, I'm looking at those teams, like Kent Hughes knew the market, and he knew it right away.
And I prefer Winnipeg anyways. To me, they're more of a chance to get eliminated earlier than Bruins and
well said. Yes,
Colorado.
I agree. I agree.
There's a higher likelihood that they get eliminated, but that's another thing too. I did not want to be playing into one of our rival teams or a team that we hate, giving them a piece that would allow them to advance. So even
1000%,
Toronto,
yes.
they were bringing it up that Toronto was
Yeah,
maybe
a few
inquiring
times.
on Monahan.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm really happy with where he went, and I love your point, Joey. Thank you for that. Not only is there a higher likelihood that they lose quickly, they just have a bad record of losing and not performing in the playoffs, but they also didn't go to a rival team. And God bless Hughes for what he did. And at the end of the day, to come full circle once again, 2 first-round picks for a guy who was apparently supposed to be a problem, helped a lot with the development of our players.
Mm-hmm.
We got him for practically nothing and we got a whole ton for him, and we got, again, a whole ton for him.
A lot of fans
like,
are
genius.
A lot of fans are upset that they didn't get a prospect.
That's the other thing too that I want to mention. We had this discussion in the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans, and it's just the nature of living in this city, there are fans, and we've clearly had this discussion amongst ourselves. There are fans who know their hockey, who are looking at this trade, who are looking at, have the foresight to say, okay, what's coming, who's coming up, what kind of contracts are going to have to get renegotiated, what kind of space are we going to have, this, that, and the other. I have a feeling that a lot of people are looking at just the scoreboard and saying, Sean Monahan has been producing recently. He's one of our top point scorers, and he's doing great for Montreal this season. Why are we trading him? And they're throwing their not why are we trading them? They're throwing their hands up in protest to say, why again every single time that we have a good player, we trade him away without having any idea of the implications of him not coming back, of what we could get in return for him, what it means to have an additional first round pick. Are we going to have more bargaining power? Will we be able to move up in the draft? Will we be able to go make a trade for a potential other player or young player to come in, much like New Hook? How do you think Doc came along?
Well, there you
Doc,
go.
Doc and
This is
so
what people
wake
need
up,
to.
people.
No, but this is
Listen
what
to
people
us.
need to
Listen to us.
realize.
Come get informed before you scream and protest and put your arms in the air. Come listen to a few individuals who are taking the time to analyze and break it down and justify why these trades are going through. And at the end of the day, there's a reason why Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes are sitting behind that desk and why you're going to fucking Burger King every morning to scrape burgers off and feed it to people. These GMs, I said it. We had this discussion this weekend, Sammy. I would love to see these people.
No, but just chill. Hold on a sec, because here's the thing. Any GM that would give a top prospect for Sean Monahan is getting fired. Sean Monahan does not get you a prospect. It's draft picks that get you prospects. Like you said, Chris, you said it perfectly. That's how we got Doc. That's how we got Newhook. It's through these draft
But
picks.
no one understands that retaining that salary could lead to getting a prospect from somewhere else. That's what a lot of these fans don't understand. And to answer your question, Chris, all these fans that are complaining are the fans that just watch the sport and don't look at the other stuff after that. They just tune in at 7 p.m., close it at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
They look at the scores, who scored the goal. They've been and they probably don't know who Sean Monahan is, and only recently because he's been putting all these points. They're like, "Oh, Monahan, 5 points this game. He's amazing." And now he's out there like, "What the fuck?"
It's not that, Anthony. It's unfortunately there's. I'm telling you guys, please go buy this book. Please go buy this book. I'm telling you, okay? It's so funny how we're having this discussion, and I'm at a chapter now where they said, and I think I showed you the pictures. It's so true that the last 20 years, almost every single Stanley Cup champion had at least 9 to 10 players they drafted. Put aside what Vegas did, and even Florida, the way they built their team, they're both an anomaly. They don't happen all the fucking time, okay? And in that chapter, it says too, sometimes you get these players that got drafted maybe 2-3 seasons ago. It's just not working out with their team, whatever. And you trade for those by sending them other draft picks. You don't send a past player for a future. You don't take, not that you don't send you don't take a past player into your team and give away a future player. You don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. That's why Sam Pollock and the Montreal Canadiens in the 70s won all those cups. And that's why fucking Chicago won those cups. LA won all those cups. Pittsburgh won all those cups. Okay? They acquired those guys. They acquired some of the best veterans that they did their pro scouting on, felt like they could work with these young players and these young Tampa Bay, best example. Tampa Bay is the best example. What helps with them? They have one of the best developing programs in the entire league. But so did Detroit. That's why they were winning. This is what you gotta understand is that you get these draft picks. You really think Kent Hughes and Gordon are not going to try to flip these things? Chris, I know you were saying this. You and I were in the same ballpark, but you were about to say some shit that was going to get us in trouble, and I had to stop you there. So
it's more on the lines of you got to dig into these things. And I know that you want to have something to talk about. I know Montreal, it's a birthright to be a fan of this team. And there are some people who are very intense with their passion for this team. But just because you feel the need to talk about this team and feel like you're part of the conversation, don't always revert back to frustration. Don't revert back to criticizing, because there's a lot more strategy and a lot more to it than what meets the eye. And that's it. The fans who are protesting this trade, you have no idea how much good Kent Hughes did. So for the love of God, will you stop making us true fans feel ashamed, please?
I feel like Chris is gonna cry.
Yeah, he is. So
I'm gonna flip the fucking desk is what I'm gonna do.
There's a single tear running down.
You guys probably mentioned it, but everyone should know it. Any Hab fan, like Anthony mentioned, that's looking after the game from 7 to 10, everybody knows that this pick will probably not be selected by Montreal. It's going to be traded. I'd say it's like more than 50% that this pick of Winnipeg is going to be traded when draft day comes, or even before it, but mostly when draft day comes. So
I think so too. And it makes perfect sense because listen, at the end of the day, we could draft all these players. We won't be able to sign them. We won't. We won't. It's a clear, obvious thing. It's impossible. We have 22 now. Here, let's make it 23 draft picks within the next 2-3 drafts coming up. I get it, but this is how you get to that
Kirby Doc. Kirby Doc.
We can't ask for a better example. Kirby Doc and Alex Newhook. The Canadiens, they built their defense core. They're probably going to try to find a veteran here and there. They still have Savard. They'll see. They'll still have Matheson, but they might see eventually. Yeah, they're going to bring it. Now with all these draft picks, I'm putting every dollar I have here, Anthony. Back to betting. I put every dollar I have. They're going and try to get these young, established already NHL players.
I've been saying that since
and they're going to target forwards most likely. They
maybe a Zegras, yes, a forwards, absolutely. Maybe a Zegras, maybe a Kent Johnson. I don't know. I'm just trying to name these two players off the top of my head.
It's funny how you guys are all on my bandwagon when Joy used to make fun of me with my scenarios. I've been saying since the beginning that Hughes is going to go after established NHL players and established prospects. It's happening. And all jokes aside, I know, Joy, you were bugging me before, whatever, but it's the smart way of. And I know you asked the question.
The smart way of building a team.
But let's go back to the first question you asked at the beginning of this episode. Well, not the beginning of this episode, when we started talking about the Habs. You had said, where do we see the rebuild stage at this point? I think we all have a different opinion now compared to what we had discussed at the beginning of the season. I think I don't know how to like. Let me phrase this properly. I don't know. I don't think we're rebuilding. Sorry, let's start over. We're rebuilding, but in a smarter and faster way.
Yeah. We're still in the rebuild. We're
100%.
Yeah.
I would argue maybe not faster. We're in
maybe smarter. Maybe smarter. I definitely think this is smart. Listen,
but hold on. He's
smarter. I see what Anthony. I got to follow up on you.
What I'm saying by faster is we're not depending on these projections of these prospects that we're drafting to build.
Well, they kind of are. Yeah, they kind of are.
But then you're getting a player like Newhook and Doc that you're just trying to fast forward a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
We're not waiting for all our drafts to get to their point, to their peak of their career. Where are we getting them on earlier? That's what I mean by faster.
Sure, yes, but they're still taking for the first time in a long time, the Montreal Canadiens are putting a team together way different than any other fucking GM
100%.
I've ever seen.
100%.
Way different than. But then we got some people that are like, well, they've been rebuilding since the last time they won the cup, but they've been doing the same thing since they won the cup, and it didn't work.
No, they're just doing it like. We've been trying to rebuild since the Gainey days, right? And they just never called it rebuild. They never called it rebuild.
They just fucking flush everybody, and here let's bring a whole new set of players. That wasn't even a rebuild.
And I said this from the beginning. This, and I know I don't want to repeat it, but we have to because we're in this position of what we're seeing with this team, and all these fans second guessing what Hughes and Gordon are doing. We're finally building like. Look at Edmonton and Toronto, okay? How wrong they did this, right? We will pretend like. Sorry, I had this conversation with someone today. McDavid might not ever win the Stanley Cup. Matthews might not win the Stanley Cup ever in his career, and I'm not saying that because they suck. I actually like Matthews. I actually like McDavid, and I would feel fucking bad if they never win. It's unfortunate for talented players like that never win. Right? Like imagine playing your whole life.
They just need to leave Toronto and Edmonton. If they go somewhere else, I'll be happy.
But my point I'm trying to say is that
Edmonton. What's wrong?
No.
but they're not.
I
No,
mean, I
but
don't
they're
want
not.
another Canadian team to win it. I get it, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. No,
they wouldn't be
okay.
the worst.
Sorry,
I'm just
Anthony.
saying that I'm just saying that they did it wrong, right? They're putting all their money on assets and trying to build. And I've said
We'll
this
see
many
with
times.
Edmonton.
Sorry.
They're sorting. We'll see with Edmonton about being
Now
wrong.
they're finally changing it up, but at the beginning it wasn't. They weren't doing it right. All those number one picks, and where did they go? Nowhere, right?
There's
But
only
I'm
there's
trying.
only there's only there's only McDavid that's left, and then Draisaitl at number
No,
3.
Nugent Hopkins.
Oh yeah, sure. I forgot about it.
But you would think that after all those number one picks, you would be a superstar team, and you don't. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is that
they're too top heavy. And that's the problem with the same thing with Toronto. Too top heavy.
too top heavy, lack of chemistry. And I've said this from the beginning. A team that has, let's go back to the era of no salary cap. The New York Rangers, the most richest team on the ice, and they couldn't win, right? Because they had
They had all
you
the
have
old guys. They had all the old guys. That's
Well, what
why.
I'm trying to say, when you have too many talent players together, it's you would think that it's you're having no, but you would think that
I get what you say, but look at the 2002 Detroit Red Wings. Just look at that roster.
yes, but they built a chemistry together, right? They started
Well,
young. It wasn't just
okay.
a bunch of players.
Well, it was still the same core of like again players they drafted: Fedorov, Yzerman,
But that's
Lidstrom.
what I'm trying to
Lidstrom.
say, right?
Sure, yes, I
Sam,
do.
did Colorado win the year they got Solani and Korea?
Negative. No.
No, right?
No.
That's a
true.
team where
Yeah,
that's a good
that's true.
example for
Yeah, that's true.
Anthony, where they had like Forsberg, Sakic,
Hayduk.
Tange, Hayduk.
I don't
and they
think no. I don't know if Tanguay was there yet. I think Tanguay came a little bit later.
Really? I thought he was there.
Yeah. Oh no! Wait a minute. You're right because he won the cup. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
They go out. They acquire two heavy superstars in Korea and Solani that lit it up in Anaheim, and they went to playoffs. Nothing. They were literally the best team. I remember that top six.
Yeah, I remember.
Tremendous, and they
I
couldn't.
remember
My point being is that you got to, and the way Gorton and Hughes is doing this,
a winning
if they do
culture.
it right, you're building that winning culture
Yeah.
from scratch. You're building young players who don't have any experience whatsoever, but have the talent, but zero experience. And then you're building your team together, like building a family together. And then when you get to that point, that 3-4 year mark, where you play together, you established the experience. You guys have full of talent. You know how to play with each other. You know how to. It's like a family, a brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
You need to get to that point, and that's how you win games. Talent with chemistry. The problem with Toronto and the problem with chemistry with Edmonton, for example, and your Colorado example, so much talent but zero chemistry. Why? Because you have a bunch of hotheads who have the biggest salaries, think they're the best of the world, but they just can't play together.
Well, it's not just that too. Toronto can't find key pieces to
They have no chemistry. They don't know how to play together.
I wouldn't say chemistry.
I don't know.
I'm more with-
They don't have
I'm
depth.
more with depth.
They don't have
I'm more
depth.
with
They don't have
than
depth within the forwards group. They don't have great defense. They're goal. They got no goalie. Like Edmonton's defense is getting better, especially with Evan Bouchard, and because of that, Stuart Skinner's playing better. Now the question is, can they carry that into the playoffs? It's mental. You know what, Anthony? I think I'm not saying you're confusing something. I think mental toughness plays a huge impact on some of these guys.
The Stanley Cup run for the Montreal Canadiens was all mental toughness. They were trying to win for Price and Weber.
Not just that, dude. Totally, but the amount of traveling they were doing compared to any other team in those playoffs, like that was a level of adversity. The injuries that they were sustaining, I you know what, Anthony? Maybe not chemistry is the word you look for. I think mental toughness. I think that's what Toronto, teams like Toronto, a team like Edmonton, I think that's what they lack. That's one big thing they lack. Like it's deep down inside. Like here's the thing now, and more as I read books like this, you hear analysts talk, you hear stories of past players, what they went through to win the cup and all that. Listen, do you need a bit of luck? Yes. Your best players are going to be your best players, no matter whether they're forward, defense, goalie. They're going to be the best players. The role players are going to do the role. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Part of it, you need to be lucky to be good, and need to be good to be lucky. Number one. Number two, the healthiest team wins. I'm convinced.
Hands down.
The healthier the team, the more chances they are of winning. And 3, it's the fucking mental toughness. If you can tough it out mentally, and going back to Jordan, what was that? It was that mental toughness. I think it goes for all sports. That's what it is now, especially now more than ever, where sports psychology plays a huge role into the overall game of these players. Mental toughness, man. I think, Anthony, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers, at least for now, what we've seen for the past couple of years, the lack of mental toughness to go through that next round and to win these important games.